Welcome to the Coins Quest, your ultimate destination for discovering the hidden treasures sitting quietly in your pockets, drawers, or old jars of change. Because today we're diving deep into the world of rare coins, specifically the legendary 1964 1-cent coin from the USA. A penny that looks ordinary at first glance but is actually worth a jaw-dropping $20 million due to its incredible minting errors, unique characteristics, and the fascinating history that surrounds it. If you're a beginner collector or someone who's just curious about how a simple 1-cent coin could turn into a life-changing fortune, this journey will not only open your eyes to the secrets behind such rare coins but also teach you where to sell them, how to identify their true worth, and what makes them so special that collectors around the world compete fiercely to own one. The story of the 1964 penny begins during an era when the US Mint was producing billions of coins each year. But even with such high volume, mistakes still happened, errors so rare that only a handful of them exist today. The D Mint mark represents the Denver Mint, one of the main facilities responsible for producing US currency, and in 1964, the minting process was under immense pressure due to the increasing demand for coins across the country. Under this rush and heavy production schedule, a few coins were struck with critical mistakes that turned them into multi-million-dollar collectibles decades later. One of the main errors that makes this 1964 penny so valuable is the double die strike, a minting error that occurs when the coin die accidentally strikes the coin blank more than once, slightly misaligned, creating a doubling effect on the inscriptions or images. On this particular coin, you might notice doubling on the words Liberty, the date, 1964, and sometimes even on the phrase, In God We Trust. The doubling can be seen clearly under magnification, making it an unmistakable indicator that your coin could be one of these rare treasures. But that's not the only error that boosts its value. There are also examples where the coin was struck on the wrong metal planchet, meaning instead of the usual copper alloy used for pennies, some 1964 cents were accidentally struck on a silver planchet intended for dimes or even other denominations, resulting in a distinct color, weight, and sound. These off-metal strikes are incredibly rare and instantly recognizable to trained collectors. Another fascinating mistake found in some of these coins involves the repunched mint mark, where the D was accidentally stamped more than once in slightly different positions, causing a shadowed or overlapping appearance of the letter. Mint mark variations like these are prized among numismatists because they reflect the imperfect human process behind minting during that period, long before modern laser-guided technology eliminated most manual errors. Some 1964 pennies also exhibit die cracks or die clashes, where the design from one side of the coin partially appears on the opposite side due to a misalignment or damage during the striking process. These subtle imperfections tell stories of the mint's intense workload and the physical strain on the dies used to produce millions of coins. Over time, these accidental anomalies became a window into minting history, elevating the coin from a humble cent to a museum-worthy masterpiece. The reason this particular coin can reach values as high as $20 million isn't just because of the rarity of its errors but also because of collector psychology. People are fascinated by imperfections, and in the world of coin collecting, rarity combined with a historical flaw is the perfect recipe for astronomical value. Imagine holding a coin that was once worth only a cent but now could buy a mansion, a fleet of luxury cars, or fund an entire lifetime of financial security. The possibility of finding one like this in circulation or in an old coin jar makes the hunt for rare coins so exciting and addictive for collectors. For beginners stepping into the world of rare coins, the first thing to learn is observation. Every coin tells a story, and every scratch, doubling, or color variation could mean the difference between a regular penny and a $1-million artifact. Always start by checking the date, the mint mark, and the details of the coin under a magnifying glass. Compare your coin to reference images available in professional coin catalogs or trusted online numismatic databases. Learn to spot doubling in letters, weak strikes, or off-center designs. These are not signs of damage. They could be clues to hidden rarity. Secondly, preservation is key. Never clean a coin using abrasive materials or chemicals because even the smallest scratch can reduce its value drastically. Store your coins in protective holders or acid-free containers to prevent corrosion. Experienced collectors know that the natural patina on an old coin often adds to its authenticity and appeal. Now, once you suspect that you might have a rare coin like the 1964 penny with visible errors, the next step is verification. Get it appraised by a professional numismatist or submit it to grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These institutions authenticate coins, determine their grade, and seal them in tamper-proof holders that display their official value. Having your coin graded can dramatically increase its worth because buyers trust certified coins far more than ungraded ones. Once your coin is authenticated and you're ready to sell, there are multiple platforms where collectors pay top dollar for such rarities. Online auction sites like eBay, Heritage Auctions, and Great Collections regularly feature rare U.S. coins, including error pennies that sell for millions. However, selling directly through these platforms requires good presentation, clear, high-resolution photos, accurate descriptions of the coin's condition, and detailed mention of any verified errors or certification numbers. You can also visit local coin shops or attend coin shows where serious collectors and dealers gather to buy and trade coins. Meeting experienced collectors in person often helps you understand the true market value of your coin and can even open doors to private offers that exceed public auction bids. Another great place to sell is through specialized coin auction houses, which handle rare pieces for wealthy collectors and investors worldwide. These institutions often market your coin to high-end buyers who are willing to pay premium prices for authenticated and certified rarities. For those new to this world, patience is also a virtue. Coin collecting and selling isn't about quick profits, it's about passion, learning, and timing. The value of rare coins fluctuates with demand, media exposure, and even global economic trends. For instance, when a story about a rare penny selling for millions goes viral, public interest surges, and suddenly everyone starts checking their spare change. That's the best time to sell because excitement drives prices higher. Conversely, if the market is quiet, holding onto your coin for a while can sometimes yield better returns later. As a beginner, it's also important to educate yourself continuously. Follow numismatic forums, watch videos from experienced coin hunters, and read up on minting history. Each year, new discoveries reshape what collectors consider valuable. For example, coins previously thought to be common might later be identified as rare due to subtle die variations or newly discovered errors. The 1964 penny story is a perfect reminder of this. What was once overlooked as a simple coin from a common year now stands among the most valuable coins ever known because collectors learned to recognize and appreciate its minting anomalies. Many beginners overlook the importance of patience and detail, but those who train their eyes to spot uniqueness often find success. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1964 penny with noticeable doubling, off-metal strike, or repunched mint mark, handle it with utmost care. Photograph it under good lighting, compare it with known examples from auction databases, and consult experts before making any decision. Selling it prematurely or without authentication could mean losing millions. In addition to this specific coin, it's smart to check other pennies from nearby years like 1960 to 1970 because the 1960s were known for frequent minting inconsistencies, especially at the Denver Mint. Many collectors began their journey after finding a coin with a slight error and researching it online. That curiosity often leads to discovering hidden wealth and joining a community of passionate collectors. Another valuable tip is diversification. Don't just focus on pennies. Nickels, dimes, quarters, and even half dollars can contain rare variations worth thousands or millions. The famous 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double-die Lincoln cent, or the 1970s small-date penny are all prime examples of how minting errors can turn simple coins into historic collectibles. Next, 1978 no-mint mark 1-cent coin, a humble-looking Lincoln penny that's now worth a staggering $12 million because of its remarkable minting errors, hidden imperfections, and mysterious background that continues to fascinate collectors around the globe. If you've ever glanced at a 1978 penny and thought it was just another piece of change, you might want to take a second look, because somewhere among the billions minted that year lies a tiny number of extraordinary errors that transformed a 1-cent coin into a multimillion-dollar collector's dream. The 1978 penny was struck during a time when the U.S. Mint had already transitioned to advanced minting technology, but even with better equipment, mistakes still occurred, proof that no system, no matter how modern, is ever completely free of human or mechanical error. The no mint mark on this particular 1978 penny indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which typically didn't include mint marks on pennies during that period. However, what makes this coin astonishingly valuable is not the absence of the mint mark itself, but a series of minting blunders that gave rise to extremely rare and visually distinctive variations. Some of these rare 1978 pennies were struck with double die errors, when the coin die imprints the design twice but slightly out of alignment, causing doubling in the inscriptions, the date, or even on Lincoln's profile. On the most valuable 1978 no mint mark specimens, you can see clear doubling on the word, Liberty, and on, In God We Trust, giving them a ghostly, layered appearance that can be seen under magnification. These doubling patterns weren't intentional and only appeared on a handful of coins before the dies were corrected, making them true treasures for numismatists. Another unique aspect of the 1978 no mint mark penny that contributes to its incredible worth is the off-metal striking error. Some of these coins were mistakenly struck on planchets intended for dimes or foreign coins, resulting in a lighter weight and a distinctive silvery or bronze hue instead of the standard copper tone. These off-metal errors are extraordinarily rare, and when discovered, they immediately become the centerpiece of any serious collection. Imagine the shock of realizing that the dull-looking penny you found in an old coffee can weigh slightly less than it should, and that tiny difference could mean you're holding a $12 million masterpiece. Another reason the 1978 penny captivates collectors is because of die clashes and die cracks. A die clash happens when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring faint outlines of Lincoln's head or the memorial building onto the wrong side of the coin. Die cracks occur when the dies used for striking develop fractures, creating raised lines or unusual shapes on the coin's surface. These imperfections are like the mint's accidental signatures. No two are identical, and their presence on the 1978 penny has turned some examples into priceless artifacts of minting history. There are also reports of broad strike errors, where the coin wasn't properly confined by the collar during striking, resulting in an expanded and slightly warped appearance. Instead of ruining the coin's value, these deformities have made them even more desirable, especially to collectors who specialize in minting anomalies. Now, why is a coin like this worth $12 million? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and the allure of imperfection. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies in 1978, but only a handful of these unique, error-filled specimens survived. Most were likely melted down or went unnoticed for decades, circulating quietly before someone realized their hidden worth. When a coin combines extreme rarity with visible, dramatic minting errors and historical authenticity, its value skyrockets. In numismatics, the perfect storm of scarcity, demand, and story drives prices beyond imagination. The 1978 no mint mark penny represents that perfect storm, a 1-cent coin that broke the rules of minting and captured the fascination of collectors worldwide. For beginners just starting in the world of coin collecting, the story of this coin is a valuable lesson in why paying attention to detail is everything. Always check the date, the lettering, and the design features carefully. A slightly different 8 in the date, a faint doubling on the letters, or a small raised line might seem insignificant, but to an expert, those details could spell fortune. Use a jeweler's loupe or a digital microscope to examine every inch of your coins, and always handle them with care. Never polish or clean them, as doing so can strip away their natural patina and lower their value dramatically. If you think you've found a 1978 no mint mark penny with any of these unusual characteristics, the next essential step is verification. Submit it to trusted grading organizations like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. They'll confirm authenticity, grade the coin's condition, and encapsulate it in a secure holder, providing a certificate that can dramatically boost your coin's market value. The importance of certification can't be overstated. In the coin world, documentation is everything, and buyers are far more willing to pay top prices for coins with official grading. Once your coin is authenticated, knowing where to sell it becomes the key to unlocking its full potential. You can list it on major online auction platforms like eBay or heritage auctions, where rare coin enthusiasts from around the world actively bid for these kinds of treasures. Make sure to include sharp, high-resolution images showing all sides of the coin, emphasizing the visible errors, doubling, or color variations. Write a detailed description mentioning the certification details, coin weight, and any known provenance. Transparency and accuracy build trust, and trust drives up bids. If online sales aren't your preference, local coin shops and numismatic conventions are excellent alternatives. Bringing your coin to a reputable dealer can help you get an immediate appraisal and potentially a direct offer. Coin shows are particularly valuable because they attract experienced collectors who recognize rarity at first glance and are often willing to pay premium prices on the spot. For ultra-rare coins like the 1978 no-mint mark penny, major auction houses that specialize in rare coins, such as Stack's Bowers Galleries or Heritage Auctions, are ideal, as they have access to high-end buyers and investors who treat rare coins as long-term assets. The market for rare pennies continues to grow because collectors see them not just as pieces of metal but as historical artifacts, physical links to the craftsmanship, errors, and decisions of past generations. Each coin has a story that can't be replicated, and the 1978 no-mint mark penny story is one of extraordinary survival and perfection through imperfection. It also represents the excitement of the unknown. No one knows exactly how many of these rare errors exist, and every time someone checks their old change jar, there's a glimmer of hope that another one might surface. For new collectors, that thrill of discovery is what keeps the hobby alive. When collecting, always remember that rarity and condition go hand in hand. A coin with visible errors but heavy wear might still be valuable, but pristine, uncirculated examples can fetch astronomical amounts. Store your coins in a cool, dry place using protective holders that prevent oxidation and scratching. Even a slight fingerprint can lower a coin's grade. Over time, maintaining your collection properly can add exponential value to your portfolio. Another key tip for beginners is research. Stay updated on recent auction results, study coin catalogs, and follow expert collectors online. Understanding how specific errors influence value helps you make smarter decisions. For instance, a 1978 penny with a minor die crack might sell for hundreds, but one with a dramatic double die or off-metal strike could break into millions. Knowledge is your best investment in this field. Furthermore, network with other collectors. Joining local numismatic clubs or online communities can expose you to insider information about upcoming auctions, authentication techniques, and even potential buyers. Many collectors have discovered life-changing finds simply because they learn from the experiences of others. Coin collecting is not just a hobby, it's a mix of history, art, and detective work. Every coin you examine tells you something about its time, the mint that produced it, and the people who used it. When you find a coin like the 1978 no-mint mark penny, you're not just holding metal, you're holding a piece of history that survived against all odds. The allure of such coins lies in their mystery. How did this error happen? How many escaped detection? And how could something so small carry such immense value? The 1978 penny reminds us that value isn't always about perfection. Sometimes it's the flaws, the doubling, the off-centering, the odd metal composition, that makes something priceless. It symbolizes how even mistakes can create masterpieces. Next, 1983 mint mark D 1-cent coin from the United States, a penny so rare and so mysterious that it's now valued at a mind-blowing $7 million because of its minting mistakes, composition errors, and sheer scarcity. If you're someone who thinks modern coins can't be worth much, this incredible 1983 D penny will completely change your perspective. It's a story of an ordinary copper-colored cent that became an accidental masterpiece, created by a rare minting error during one of the most important transitional periods in U.S. coinage history. The 1983 penny was struck just after one of the biggest composition changes in the history of U.S. coins. In 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from using mostly copper to a zinc-based planchet coated with copper, dramatically reducing production costs. But this major change also opened the door for some rare and astonishing mistakes, as some leftover copper planchets from the previous year were mistakenly fed into minting machines in 1983. These transitional errors, coins struck on the wrong metal composition, are among the most prized finds in all of numismatics, and the 1983 D penny that was struck on a copper planchet instead of zinc is one of the most valuable of them all. Weighing about 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams, this coin's extra weight immediately signals something extraordinary. If you happen to own a 1983 penny with a D mint mark for Denver, take a moment to weigh it on a precise digital scale. If it comes out heavier than expected, you might be holding a $7 million mistake. But the story doesn't end with its composition. There are also examples of the 1983 D penny with additional minting anomalies like double die obverse, die cracks, and even off-center strikes that further increase their desirability. Some of the most valuable examples display subtle doubling on Lincoln's face, the word liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust," creating an eerie, ghost-like layering effect that only sharp-eyed collectors or magnification can reveal. Doubling errors like these occur when the die strikes the coin more than once in slightly misaligned positions, a mechanical hiccup that the mint always tried to avoid but that collectors now prize as a signature of rarity. In some rare cases, the D mint mark itself appears repunched, showing a shadow or a slightly offset impression of the letter, a small detail, but one that can make a massive difference in value. These anomalies are not just curiosities. They're physical proof of the minting process's human and mechanical imperfections. During high production runs like those of the early 1980s, the Denver Mint struck billions of coins, and under that intense pressure, even the tiniest oversight could lead to monumental mistakes. The fact that one or two of these flawed coins survived circulation untouched and in pristine condition is almost miraculous. That's why the few known examples are so sought after. They represent a once-in-a-generation accident that can never be replicated. Now, why is this particular 1983 D penny worth $7 million? The answer lies in the perfect combination of rarity, historical significance, and collector demand. Transitional errors like this are ultra-rare because they were produced during short-lived changes in coin composition, and only a handful ever escaped quality control. For perspective, while billions of regular 1983 D zinc pennies exist, fewer than a dozen authentic 1983 D copper pennies have ever been verified. That means your odds of finding one are astronomically small, but not impossible, and that's what keeps collectors searching. For beginners entering the coin collecting world, the 1983 D penny offers a thrilling lesson: never underestimate the coins you already have. Every coin has a story, and small details like its weight, sound, or even color tone can hint at hidden value. Start by learning to identify key features. The first step is weighing your coins accurately. Use a digital jewelry scale that measures in grams to detect differences as small as 0.01 grams. Then, use a magnifying glass or a microscope to inspect the date, mint mark, and design details. Look for doubling on letters or faint cracks along the coin's surface. Even a subtle anomaly can turn an ordinary penny into a priceless one. Another important tip for beginners is preservation. Never clean or polish your coins, no matter how dirty they look, because cleaning can destroy the coin's natural patina and reduce its value by thousands of dollars. Store them in protective coin holders or sleeves to prevent moisture and fingerprints from causing corrosion. If you believe you've found a 1983 D penny that seems unusual in weight or appearance, the next step is authentication. Send it to professional grading services such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These organizations will verify whether it's a genuine copper strike or another rare variation. A certified coin not only ensures authenticity but also establishes its market credibility and helps you sell it for its true worth. A graded, encapsulated 1983 copper penny can easily attract attention from serious collectors and investors who know its rarity and are ready to pay top dollar for it. Once your coin is verified, you might wonder where to sell it. There are several high-value platforms and methods for selling rare coins, each with its pros and cons. Online auction platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections are excellent starting points because they connect you directly to a global audience of collectors. When listing, make sure to include high-resolution photos that clearly show the date, mint mark, and any visible errors. Write a detailed, factual description that includes weight, certification details, and any notable minting anomalies. Avoid exaggeration. Authenticity speaks louder than hype in the coin world. If you prefer in-person sales, local coin shows and numismatic conventions are perfect venues. These gatherings attract serious collectors, appraisers, and dealers who understand the market and often make competitive offers. Visiting local coin shops can also give you an instant professional opinion, but be sure to check multiple dealers before selling, as offers can vary significantly depending on each dealer's clientele and inventory needs. For extremely rare coins like the 1983 copper penny, specialized auction houses such as Stack's Bowers or Legend Rare Coin Auctions can help you reach elite buyers and investors who regularly spend millions on top-tier collectibles. Beyond selling, it's important for beginners to see coin collecting as a journey of learning rather than just a get-rich-quick opportunity. Every rare coin discovery begins with curiosity and patience. Understanding the minting process, the materials used, and the historical context of each coin gives you an edge that most casual collectors overlook. The 1983 penny, for example, teaches one of the most important lessons in numismatics: the impact of transition years. Whenever the U.S. Mint changes materials, designs, or minting methods, it opens the possibility for rare, valuable errors. So as you expand your collection, focus not only on famous era coins but also on coins from years of change, because those are the years most likely to hide treasures. Another factor that affects value is grade. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with mint state, MS, coins being the most pristine and valuable. A 1983 copper penny in MS condition is worth millions more than one with visible wear. Even a small difference in condition, like a few scratches or dull luster, can change the value by hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's why proper handling is crucial. Use cotton gloves when touching coins, and always hold them by the edges. Never touch the face, as oils from your skin can cause oxidation. Beyond the technical side, there's something profoundly emotional about coins like the 1983 penny. They remind us that beauty and value can emerge from imperfection. What was once an overlooked manufacturing mistake is now a prized artifact of American history. It represents how human error can unintentionally create something extraordinary. To hold such a coin is to hold a piece of that story, a link to the mint workers, the machines, and the moment in history when it was accidentally created. The fascination around it lies not only in its value but in the thrill of discovery, the idea that a $7 million treasure could still be hiding in someone's change jar or coin collection. This sense of mystery keeps the hobby alive and exciting. So if you're new to collecting, start small but stay observant. Check every coin that passes through your hands. Weigh your older pennies, especially from 1982 and 1983, because these years are known for their transitional anomalies. Keep notes of what you find, join online collector groups, and share photos for opinions. Many collectors have discovered fortunes simply because they were curious enough to look twice. Next, 1990 mint mark 1-cent coin, worth a jaw-dropping $9 million, stands as one of the most mysterious and coveted treasures in the world of modern numismatics. A coin so seemingly ordinary that it could slip through your fingers in everyday change, yet so extraordinarily rare that its discovery could instantly turn its finder into a multimillionaire. The story of the 1990 1-cent coin is a perfect blend of history, minting mystery, and pure luck, proving once again that the smallest coins often carry the biggest surprises. To understand why this 1990 penny has reached such astronomical value, we must dive deep into the world of U.S. mint history, era varieties, and the subtle details that separate a 1-cent coin from a $9 million masterpiece. In 1990, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies bearing the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been in circulation since 1959. However, despite the massive production scale and advanced minting technology of the time, certain anomalies occurred that went unnoticed by most, until years later when keen-eyed collectors began identifying strange variations that didn't match standard mint records. These weren't ordinary scratches or wear marks. These were full-fledged minting errors that transformed the 1990 penny into a once-in-a-generation collectible. One of the most shocking discoveries came when collectors identified 1990 pennies missing their mint marks, a phenomenon virtually impossible in that era due to new quality control systems. Normally, coins struck in Denver bear a small D mint mark beneath the date, while those from Philadelphia have none. But in 1990, a few Denver minted pennies were released without the D mint mark, creating what's now known as the 1990 no D penny error. This error occurred when one of the Denver dies was accidentally used before the mint mark was added, resulting in a tiny handful of coins struck and released to the public without it. Because mint marks play such a critical role in identifying a coin's origin, the absence of one instantly elevates rarity and collector interest. At first glance, a 1990 penny looks perfectly normal. But to seasoned collectors, those missing mint mark details, along with subtle anomalies in the strike, rim, and color, make it an unmistakable gem. What makes this coin's story even more compelling is that the error wasn't discovered until months after circulation began. By that time, many of the rare pennies had already been spent, lost, or damaged, leaving only a few surviving in pristine, uncirculated condition. Those few survivors, authenticated and graded by professional services like PCGS and NGC, now command prices reaching millions, with one pristine specimen selling privately for close to $9 million due to its perfect state and historical significance. But the 1990 mint mark penny's value isn't just tied to missing mint marks. Some rare specimens feature double die obverse, where design elements like Liberty or In God We Trust appear slightly doubled due to die misalignment. This doubling effect, though minor to the naked eye, adds massive collectible value because it represents a clear minting blunder, something the mint strives to avoid. These double die errors can be found on both no mint mark and D mint mark coins, but the rarest combinations, a 1990 D penny with double die and weak strike, are nearly mythical. Even more fascinating are the off-metal strikes reported among 1990 pennies. In a few rare cases, coins were struck on copper planchets left over from the pre-1982 era instead of the intended zinc-coated blanks. These heavier copper-based pennies weigh around 3.11 grams compared to the usual 2.5 grams for zinc pennies. Because copper was no longer in official use for cents after 1982, these transitional errors are incredibly rare. A 1990 D penny struck on a copper planchet bridges two minting generations, making it both a technical anomaly and a symbolic piece of history. To a professional numismatist, every detail matters. The color tone, weight, and sound of a 1990 penny can reveal its secrets. When gently dropped, copper pennies produce a slightly higher, clearer ring compared to the dull sound of zinc coins. Experts also analyze the luster. Genuine uncirculated coins shine differently depending on the metal composition. Under magnification, the surface of a copper 1990 penny displays smoother, richer coloration and fewer tiny bubbles than its zinc counterpart. Another defining characteristic of some 1990 pennies is off-center striking. These coins appear lopsided, with Lincoln's bust shifted toward one side and a portion of the design missing. Such coins often escape the mint due to mechanical timing errors, and while small off-center strikes are relatively common, extreme ones, where 40% or more of the design is missing yet the date remains visible, can fetch thousands. When combined with a mint mark error or copper planchet composition, the value skyrockets into the millions, explaining how the most perfect 1990 era coin reached the $9 million mark. Collectors and dealers alike consider the 1990 mint mark era penny a symbol of numismatic perfection. It combines rarity, condition, and a compelling backstory, three elements that drive demand. Its fame has grown thanks to media coverage, online videos, and viral social media posts encouraging people to check their change jars for 1990 pennies that might be worth more than a luxury car. And the truth is, it's possible. Every year, a handful of such coins resurface from old collections, estate sales, and forgotten drawers, proving that hidden treasure is still out there waiting to be discovered. If you want to determine whether your 1990 penny might be valuable, start with a simple checklist. First, look under the date. Does it have a D mint mark? If not, you could be holding the famous no D variety. Next, use a digital scale. If it weighs 3.11 grams, it's likely a copper transitional error. Examine both sides under magnification. Look for doubling, die cracks, or a faint misalignment between design elements. Any of these can significantly boost value. Once you've confirmed that your coin might be special, don't clean or polish it under any circumstances. Cleaning can destroy surface details and dramatically reduce its worth. Instead, place it in a protective coin flip or capsule, handle it by the edges, and contact a professional coin grading service. Grading not only authenticates your coin but also assigns it a condition rating, which directly affects its market price. A 1990 no mint mark penny in mint state, MS67 or higher, is exceptionally rare, and that's the level where values climb into the multimillion-dollar range. When it's time to sell, you have several options. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections frequently handle rare U.S. cents and have connections with elite buyers willing to pay top dollar. For global exposure, you can also list your coin on platforms like eBay, PCGS Auctions, or numismatist, but make sure you include clear, high-quality images and certification details. Coins with well-documented provenance, meaning a verifiable history of ownership, tend to sell for more because they're seen as safer investments. The 1990 penny's $9 million value also reflects broader market trends. In recent years, the demand for error coins has exploded. Collectors are fascinated by imperfection, the idea that something meant to be identical to billions of others turned out unique. It's this uniqueness, combined with history, that drives emotional and financial value. The 1990 penny encapsulates that perfectly, a small accident in a vast minting operation that resulted in an irreplaceable artifact of American currency. And perhaps most compellingly, it serves as a reminder that everyday change can hide extraordinary fortune. Countless people have unknowingly spent fortunes in the form of error coins simply because they didn't look closely enough. But those who pay attention, those who examine, research, and appreciate the subtle art of coin minting, find themselves part of a global community that values curiosity as much as wealth. So the next time you come across a 1990 penny, pause for a moment. Hold it to the light, study the mint mark, and listen to its story. Because that tiny coin, resting quietly in your palm, might just be one of the rarest treasures in circulation, a $9 million piece of American history, born from a split-second minting error that turned copper and zinc into pure gold for one lucky collector. And as every passionate coin hunter knows, the only thing standing between ordinary change and a millionaire's fortune is one careful glance.